have the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. All right, we can get, we'll start with the minutes. This would be the commission minutes for April 1st, 2024, public hearing for Pine Ridge vacation. April 1st, 2024, public hearing for Hess annexation, and April 1st, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. All right, with the motion and a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, will you vote?
Yes.
Yes. So moved. All right, let's go with commission reports. Tim?
Nothing new. We've got something coming up a little later. We'll talk about it. Yes, on the water tower. I don't have.
I don't have anything right now.
All right. Modification and or approval of the agenda. The only thing I'm seeing here is we're going to add to number 16 if approved by the commission. It's going to be for the consent agenda. It's going to be payroll for September 22nd, 2023. It was.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Second. All right, with the motion and a second to approve the modifications to the agenda, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, will you vote?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so moves, legal report, Liz?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, very good. I will be brief this evening. As I indicated at the last meeting, we're waiting for a couple of things to formally break loose, so to speak, to go of record. As soon as that information comes of record, I will be sharing it with the commission. The only other update that I had that's relevant is somewhat forward-looking. I appreciate Abby and other members of City Hall staff meeting with me today. It was a lengthy meeting, but it was quite productive. As the commission is aware, we have been trying to engage in some housekeeping policy updates just to make sure that everything is in order. It seems like a small task, but it's not. It's time consumptive, and I feel like we made some really good progress today. So if our schedule holds, I expect that I will be presenting, again, some house cleaning policy matters probably at the May 20th meeting, just so you guys have a heads up. We have one more meeting scheduled for May 13th, and I think that'll tidy it all and be ready by that meeting. In the intervening time, guys, I see that we have a rather lengthy agenda this evening, and I'll be prepared to participate as necessary in each of those agenda items. I will note that I think some of my colleagues from Vogel Firm are present in the audience this evening to discuss a proposal from KSI. So I'll be ready for that. And then the other matters, including any commentary from Mr. Anderson or questions regarding the Hess annexation, also likewise might call for my participation, but I guess we'll wait and see. With that, I'm not going to take any more time, and I will re-mute until it's time for me to rejoin. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Josh.
Good evening. Several items to provide updates on this evening for you. Shouldn't have anything looking for any major approvals on it. But first would be Northeast Tioga Reconstruction Phase 2. That contractor is planning on being on site by sometime between now and May 1st to begin completing punch list items. Again, they anticipate that work taking about 3 weeks to complete to get that project final completion. So look to see some activity starting up there in the next couple of weeks on it. Any questions related to that one? Okay, I will move on to Tioga Dam Emergency Action Plan and Safety Improvements. Last meeting, I had Josh Hassel join me, to kind of give you kind of a rundown on what was found with the, analysis we've been doing out there. I did hand out, a couple pages, just to kind of provide a little bit of visualization of what the, one of the options would look like. The buttress, for addressing the, dam, slope stability. So the first page of that is another dam that has this actually kind of has two buttresses on it, but it would essentially be without the second, be a single buttress of circle there. That would be the top of that, the flatter portion of that would be somewhere around 20 feet down from the top of the embankment. Is where that portion would come out kind of flat. And go up. The second page is just kind of a markup of existing picture of that that area, and just to give you a little bit of a feel for what that would entail. Any questions related to that portion? Okay, moving on related to that, we did have a meeting last week with the Department of Water Resources dam safety staff. Kind of updated them on our findings, basically ran through a similar information to what we presented at the last commission meeting. Through those discussions, they kind of confirmed that that based on the current standards for the dam or for dam safety in the state, the dam would have to be brought into compliance completely for all standards, including the geotechnical deficiencies and hydraulic deficiencies based on the standards. However, as we discussed, there is the opportunity or option, I guess, to submit a compliance deviation request to potentially not have to bring the dam into compliance from a hydraulic standpoint. Through those discussions, they kind of noted that a thorough evaluation of what the downstream impacts would be. So again, kind of going back to those discussions, right now there's an 18-inch pipe that discharges from the primary spillway, and the analysis would show that 72-inch pipe, so a significant increase in flows during the dam reaches the spillway elevation. So there'd be substantial potential for substantial increase in flow through town, impacting floodway, floodplain areas in town, potentially increasing that footprint, putting homes within floodplains. So in order to, I guess, submit that deviation request, we have to look at further evaluation of what those impacts are to justify deviating from the current standards. So so kind of next steps and what we know on this at this point, the dam, of course, doesn't meet current standards. The geotechnical and hydraulic deficiencies, the geotechnical deficiencies need to be addressed to increase the factor of safety, the risk of failure of the dam, and the hydraulic deficiencies could potentially be deviated from. So if the city decides to submit a compliance deviation request, we have to do that evaluation and submit supporting documents to justify the deviation to the state. If the deviation request is approved, from there we could move in the final design of the project to address just the geotechnical deficiencies and permitting project. However, there's still the chance that it may not be approved from the justification provided. So from there, we have discussions with the Department of Water Resources, kind of figure out what the best path is for that. So, I guess other things that could be considered for, related to this, especially if we end up in the position that the state won't approve the deviation request, is related to, I guess, how strong of a desire there may be to reduce the floodplain within town. Well, there would be an opportunity to incorporate some form or fashion of a flood risk reduction project that would to kind of divert out exterior flows that currently come through the city to essentially remove areas of the floodplain from town. Something to consider. So I guess at this point, don't necessarily need any decisions. I don't know if there's any questions. And at some point. Do you have any questions?
No, nothing to me.
No questions. Okay. So yeah, it's something we can kind of have some further discussions on what you guys may think is most wise for the city. You know, the state would accept that deviation. It would simplify the project and put a 72-inch pipe through the dam and have further discussion. Moving on, the Tioga Dam recreational trail project. So we are finalizing the drawings for the northern portion of the trail that would connect to the proposed floating bridge location. Should have plans for that for approval the next meeting. That'll be constructed would be kind of outside of the scope of work of the dam, the safety improvements project. So kind of keeping that separate for now until we'll have. I guess the other item is floating bridge. We've kind of been discussing the request kind of pricing from dock supplier to those costs. With that portion. Next item then is the 3rd Street Northwest North Hanson Street reconstruction project. Last year, asphalt final lift of asphalt is the main item remaining on that. Asphalt plants are kind of start up sometime in May. So shortly after the baseball field relocation project and floodway memo. We did have a meeting with the state NFIP coordinator as well on that last week to discuss the floodway permitting on that project. They are requesting some modeling be done to identify so since we aren't adding fill anywhere with the grading plan, but we are lowering some areas. So they are requesting some modeling be done to identify if there's a lowering in the floodway water elevation versus the negative impact is of course the rise. But if we're lowering and say it will require some mapping updates. So we would, in order to get that approval, we're looking at some model around that. We estimated effort on somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000. Trying to get that model prepared for their review. Questions?
Oh, yeah, I got one. So, probably gonna hear some gasping here in a second, but if we change the dam and the flood stuff up there, isn't it ultimately gonna change this? So then why would we want to do this, pay for this modeling now, when ultimately it's going to have to be done again if whatever decision you make?
Okay, so related to that, the county is currently working on the county-wide floodplain mapping.
Right, I remember.
So there are kind of some updates that are coming on that already.
Right.
But yeah, of course, with the dam, potential dam improvements, depending on what occurs there may need to be changes to what they are doing as well.
Right,
So there's kind of lots of moving parts. Really, there's no way around it. I know it sounds foolish, but you have to base your modeling upon the current effective mapping.
right.
So it kind of with preliminary mapping soon to be coming, we have to still based upon what's current. So it's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
So we're gonna have to do it, but it's best to wait until we figure out a decision from the other portion first. Yes, no, to see what we wanna do with the dam first. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this whole thing.
They're tied together, but not to the point where basically what this model would be is to prove that what's being done at the baseball field isn't gonna impact the current map.
Possibility we may have to do it.
Possible.
Yes, no.
That's a larger, that's gonna end up being through the entire stretch of town.
So do you need a decision for us tonight regarding that?
Yes, to move, just keep the baseball field project forward.
Is there a motion on the floor for me to review?
Whatever the meeting on this.
That's kind of meeting with the contractor and. Well,
Primarily the contractors and city, some of the city people. As far as coordination, and getting the numbers of contract.
This is probably always going to be considered like for catastrophic.
yeah, depending on what actually occurs up at the dam, we're. The embankment were to fail, that's then the water.
You probably wouldn't lose too much so we can.
I guess I don't know exactly what their schedule is. As far as. Tentatively started on that. I know there was talk of potentially until July, I think, when we started with that. I think that, I don't know totally on. I don't have to see it.
Oh, I just. See you then with Jessica's.
Okay, so Table
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All right, with motion and second to table. At, task order number 6, right?
Yes.
No questions, comments, concerns from the board when we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, North Street reconstruction, the contracts have been sent to the contractor on that, project. And, they're kind of anticipating currently, start, the later part of June on that project. The last item on that is the raised crosswalk. Any decisions to be made on that? There, I guess currently that there is one additional storm sewer inlet structure that would need to be installed if that raised crosswalk is included in the project, and they're starting to get ready to order their precast structures. So we can get a decision on that tonight. That would be excellent.
Do either of you have a question?
I don't know, we kind of talked at the meeting that we wouldn't. You know, it's, I want to.
No.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said?
No.
Okay. He said his motion is to eliminate the raised crosswalk and just continue on with just the normal.
I'll second.
All right. So with a motion, a second, the questions, comments, concerns from the board, please vote.
I know you really wanted. Yes.
So moves. I still want to revisit the traffic circle right there. All right.
Okay, last item I have this evening then is the Southwest Tile Drainage Study. We are currently just working through the alternative evaluations on that and plan to have a report for the presentation at the next meeting.
All right. Is there any way you can look at Signal Road? Have you driven down Signal Road lately? It's like driving down South Main Street. If you can take a look at it, then just yeah, especially between, I would say, North Main Street and Wheelo and a little bit past.
Okay.
There's you can see the significant errors there. Okay. But if you can check all Signal Road, I appreciate it. We're not putting speed dips in down. No speed dips.
Kirk is working on it.
Okay, perfect. Right.
And just old spots that need that.
There was a,
Include that one down by Common.
okay, yeah, there was a car in front of me, an older pickup truck, and he was doing it 25, and the driver hit the roof when he hit that speed bump. Or speed dip, whatever you want to call it. It's fine. So, cool, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Economic development.
Hello, everyone. Sarah Wagner, Economic Development Director with the City of Tioga. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is that I have reached out to multiple optometrists in varying areas in hopes to provide Tioga with quality eye care. These conversations are still very much in their infancy, and I will provide updates as things progress. Ideally, I would like to have an optometrist at least come to Tioga once a week is the goal to start out. I have also talked with a few local businesses about potentially renting space for them if an optometrist were to come to Tioga. And there are a few other rental spaces in town as well. But again, it's in the very beginning stages, and I'm still waiting to hear back from a few different eye doctors. So, next thing that I've been working on is, as the warmer weather approaches, I began thinking about how can we all enjoy our beautiful downtown area even more. So I've had multiple conversations with other economic development directors in the area, and the idea of a parklet came to mind. What a parklet is, it is a seasonal removable space that can offer comfortable seating, green spaces, shade, and enjoyment to downtown areas. These are typically placed during the summer months, so they can be put out sometime in May and have to be removed by September or October is normally what other cities have done. And they're usually placed in roadside parking spaces. However, since our downtown parking is at a premium, these parklets may have to be placed in areas where they won't interfere with parking on Main Street. So one location that we've been potentially talking about is the lot next to City Hall, producing an area there. I also had a very productive conversation with Wendy last week, and we discussed a few other potential options and areas where maybe we could put a parklet. But nothing's confirmed at this time, so we'll still be working further with that. What a parklet is, it is an elevated area with a floor and siding. It can have an awning, you can have plants there, benches, tables, an area for people to sit down and really enjoy spending the time downtown. The research I've done on parklets is they have increased foot traffic to areas where they are placed. So if they are placed near or on our downtown, it can increase foot traffic to the local businesses downtown. I've also read that both large and small communities have had a lot of success with local businesses noticing increased customers after parklets have been placed. They are not only great areas to relax in between shopping, but also a space where you can enjoy a coffee, a milkshake. They're great areas for people who work in the area that you can grab carry out from your favorite restaurant and enjoy an outside lunch. These spaces can be used for other activities such as yoga classes. You can move the tables and chairs off to the side, book clubs, places for people or students to showcase their artwork, and much more. The size of a parklet can vary depending on the space available. So I have found building plans for a very basic parklet that does not have an awning and covers about the space of parallel parking for under $1,000. So they can be relatively inexpensive to build. Next thing, I recently met with the Williston Downtowners Association, not only to discuss their experience with parklets, but other events that would be beneficial for Tioga and local businesses. A possible event that came up was having an around the world food festival. With this type of a festival, people can cook, share, and sell some of their favorite foods from different cultures and invite local businesses and vendors to participate as well. I also met with Lindsay Harriman from Williams County, and she's their community engagement coordinator. I also had a Zoom meeting with Kristen Yeager from the Montreal County JDA. I have also attended the Vision West meeting in Bowman and the League of Cities conference in Minot. Next, I have had conversations with Tiffany Boyer to start planning more of the back alley art. I've reached out to a few business owners, which she had asked me to see if they wish to participate. I'm currently waiting to hear back, but there are a few other business owners that I will be speaking with this week. Next is childcare. So Williams County is considered a high need area for childcare. I've been in discussion with a local childcare facility about expanding their business to provide even more options for childcare in Tioga. We discussed multiple state grant opportunities that may benefit this organization. And we were also discussing possible renting spaces. I've also talked with the child care licensing specialist in Williams County, and I am now creating a step-by-step pamphlet for those who wish to start their own child care business. This will be finished next week, and the specialists that I talked to are very excited about this because they currently do not have a easy to go pamphlet for people to look up, on what they need to do to start their childcare. Because when you go online, it can be very overwhelming and can be kind of daunting and turn people off from potentially opening up their own childcare business. Next, currently the Williston Herald is one of the few papers in Williams County that can qualify as an official city newspaper according to the North Dakota Century Code. Wishing that Tioga had more of a presence, I spoke with James Falcon today from the Herald to discuss covering more of Tioga's community events and local businesses. He and I had a really great conversation, and I shared with him a list of the upcoming events from the Chamber of Commerce's flyer, and he reached out to the Chamber today regarding the Rhubarb Fest in hopes to cover that and do a story on our Rhubarb Fest. I also mentioned Tioga's newest restaurant, Madhouse, and a few other things as well. And we actually have Wes, the new reporter here tonight as well. I am also working on our website and social media to let that have a more impactful presence. Next thing, I have been working with Neil Roberts from Minot State University to document and produce a short video about our Freedom Fest and the all-school reunion. I'm still in current negotiation with him, but once completed, this is going to be just one amazing tool that we can utilize throughout the year to showcase the incredible events Tioga has to offer and to bring more people into Tioga to visit our events. That's what I have.
Very nice. Thank you. All right, move into new business. We'll go with number 4, mobile law and KSI.
Good evening. I'm Monty Rockenby. I'm an attorney with the mobile law firm in Bismarck. With me is my partner Gavin Mint, and also we have Brian Turk-Fly, who's the vice president of operations of KS Industries, and Brett Kingsbury, who's the chief operations officer. And we had previously sent a letter after having some discussions with the city's attorney about KSI's annexation into the city of Tioga. And so I'm going to maybe just start with kind of a high level overview of why we're here and what happened. And then I think Brian might have some more details about the actual operations component. So going back to the summer of 2022, KSI approached the city about potentially being annexed into the city as a means for KSI to be able to access city services, city sewer, city water. This was as part of a construction project of KSI where they needed hookup to a steady water supply as part of a fire suppression system. And in looking at the relative costs of that, it was determined that being annexed into the city and hooking to the city services was a potential cost-effective solution. KSI came to the city with 3 proposals as far as how to proceed. At that time, the estimated cost of the hookup was approximately $1 million. And KSI presented to the city 3 proposals, and the proposal that the parties agreed to was that KSI would be annexed, that this $1 million would be used to build this infrastructure so that KSI could connect to the city. KSI would pay half of that, the city would pay half of that. So that was the plan that the parties agreed to. And then KSI was annexed into the city, but KSI never hooked to the city services. And that, I'm going to give you kind of a high level view of why that occurred. I think Brian can provide some more details. The plan that was initially presented, about $1 million cost, that plan changed. The infrastructure to comply with what the city wanted increased the cost of the project. But the major impediment had to do with the siting and the route and the need to cross some HES infrastructure, which made basically that crossing became impossible. So that an alternate route was explored, which would require greater right-of-way and easements, and also significantly increase the cost. And the parties never really could solve that issue with the right-of-way and the easements and the additional costs. And so KSI ended up putting its own infrastructure in place for its needs for its new facility. So where we are today is that the initial plan, $500,000 from the city, $500,000 from KSI. KSI gets to connect to the city infrastructure. City gets the advantage of having KSI's as part of the tax base. That was kind of the deal. What happened is the city didn't have to expend any funds. KSI had to spend significantly more money to build the infrastructure, has all the maintenance costs of that infrastructure, is not getting any advantage from the city's infrastructure that is now subject to the city's sales tax. So the request that KSI has is to ask this commission to put it back in the position it was before this started, which is allow it to be de-annexed from the city. And there are some technical legal requirements that the city attorney and I think can work out if the commission in its discretion is willing to allow de-annexation. And so that is what the request that KSI has, is for the city to pass another ordinance undoing the annexation. And then from there, we can work with the city's attorney to complete the property paperwork to have that completed. Have any questions for me? Ryan, do you want to say a few words about?
Yeah, I'm happy to fill out if any technical questions or anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you, if you could explain maybe in a little more detail what the issue was with the completing the project as initially anticipated.
Yeah, ultimately, I think you noted it. So what it came down to is we got prepared to enter into right-of-way surveying. We were getting in final negotiations with a third bidder that we had worked with before. Part of that was we needed to identify those line crossings and the continuous point that kept coming up. So we did one call. Let's get figured out these line crossings, which require meeting with HES because they're DOT. Met out there at HES and looked at it and they said, we are not comfortable having to cross these lines. So then we called another meeting, met with HES and more engineering again, determined that there was no way to go under these or over these as it was designed. It would require a rerouting of that line in order to get to ground that was potentially higher and out of that low land right next to the highway.
These are what kind of lines that we were trying to cross?
These are they're transmission lines. It's oil and gas lines. Like there were 6 total. So those line crossings became the point where crossing those wasn't a possibility. Looked at some technology, some different mooring technologies that are very expensive, but those weren't a valid option either due to the overhead power lines. So it really came down to the route to the west, which in order to do that and change some of the mooring profiles is going to most likely require these 2 other land easements and another design. And that's where we couldn't get to that. We couldn't get that resolved in the time frame that we're looking at for construction.
At the point that KSI was looking at the crossing of these test lines, how had the estimated cost of the project changed?
Yeah, so we were expecting the cost to be quite a bit more than what we had looked at the preliminary. That's something we would have brought to this commission had we finalized it, so knowing we had two bids. We wanted to work with this third bidder, just about to close that deal up. It was gonna be based on getting some of that information on those line crossings, and we paused that third bid and said we stopped. So we never got to a final selection.
But it was more than the initial $1 million.
Yes, yes.
The city's half of that would have been significant.
Had we got to a constructible, we never got to the constructible phase, essentially, yeah. We would have anticipated with the line size becoming larger, pump stations getting larger, there was gonna be more cost, but we didn't get to a final number that we could sit down and discuss because of this, line cost issue.
It's always my understanding that it has to give us approval to start.
So not having been a part of that initial conversation when we met out there, I believe there was a belief that the line was constructible that way. When we all met out there, it was brought up that, hey, this was not a recommended route by them. And the way their lines go through there, they're approximately 18 feet deep. Their anticipation was that it would never be crossed. One of the requirements, because of their DOT regulated, so being 18 feet deep and having to get underneath them, they require you to hold a window so they can see that or pass underneath or above it. If you go above it, it's very mucky, sandy material. If you go above it, it's very hard to keep it. It'd be impossible to keep a profile, but 4 or 5 feet of cover in there. In order to go below all 6 of those, you would have to individually hold large enough windows to where they can visibly watch that pass through, and they would have to sign off on that. The constructability part of holding windows open for that, as well as being on the edge of the highway, gets pretty restrictive. Is it impossible? I mean, we put somebody on the moon. I know we could do it, but it was, they were very uncomfortable, and they were not, wasn't something they were gonna work with us to sign off on.
Still possibility we could go to the west and go around that, but you guys have already done something else.
Correct.
So we could provide the water. All we gotta do is buy the meter pit from R&T, and we supply it with water. So does that meet enough of our requirements for the annexation? Another sticky part of this is, Dan probably knows, how many address changes did we have to do once we annexed that? Expanded our EPA?
And
You, right?
for me, this isn't an easy decision just to make.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And it's super unfortunate that you guys got on the agenda for tonight and one of our commission, well, 2 of our commissioners are absent. Which makes it a little.
And we're happy to come back. We're happy to appear by Zoom. We're happy to answer more questions, right? We started this process with a conversation with the city attorney, city auditor, and they suggested that we write a letter and get it on your agenda and come talk to you. And that was the point. I mean, this was I think when this project started, the idea was, let's make it win-win for everybody, right? We have an infrastructure need that KSI has, and we know what it's gonna cost if we have to build it outside of the city. Let's see if we can't spend money and get to a spot where everybody benefits. And for unforeseen circumstances, we didn't get to that point, right? And so we're coming and saying, hey, everybody started this project in the beginning with best of intentions. And now it hasn't worked in the favor of KSI quite the way that it was intended when it started, right? So it is, I think, a matter within the sound discretion of the commission, and that's what we're here. We're here to try to convince you that some relief of KSI is warranted under the circumstances. But like I said, we're happy to follow up with the city attorney. We're happy to address the commission again, if that's what you'd like.
It's gonna be up to them, but I think it would be good to table it until we have a little bit better of a commission here to present to.
Sure. Is there some additional information that you would like from us, or?
Well, I guess if I might chime in, I was a little bit unclear, I think, of one of the questions that was asked of Brian, and it might be just that I'm not hearing well because we're on Zoom, that happens, but if we can, before we table, I just want to make sure the commission has this information. So I think, Monty, your 30,000 foot view is accurate. That's what we understand to be the facts, that initially there was the consent annexation with KSI, that there was a plan for a particular route to connect to city infrastructure, that ultimately, you know, I don't know the details of what Hess said or didn't, frankly, or what was represented up front or wasn't, but ultimately it was determined that there was an alternate route. I think that would have been in the late summer, maybe, of 2023. And then it sounds like Brian was implying that there was some additional expense associated with the alternative route. Do we know a ballpark? I won't hold you to it. I heard you say you weren't able to reach a final conclusion as to what that additional expense might have amounted to, but do you even have a ballpark? Like, were we talking $10, $10,000, $10 million? Do we know what the ballpark on that additional expense for the alternative route may have been?
Yeah, I would say the additional expense was probably, I'd be more clear to be the preliminary design, and the final design, as it stood today, is larger. So the line sizes are larger so that there's future opportunity for the city to expand that services. So it's larger lift stations, larger pipes. So some of those design components will just increase the cost. The rerouting to the west, if that was possible, could have been, it could have been a net neutral thing, because it could have eliminated some of the costs for that, for that at least the two bidders we had in there, they had a lot of money to try to get through that. So there could have been an offset could have reduced the cost by going around, if that was possible.
What was the monetary? Yeah, what were you thinking the bid was at the third bidder? What were you looking at? What range?
It was gonna bounce between 1.8 and 2.1. So it was gonna be somewhere in there.
So about double from what the initial kind of plan was.
Correct. So changing the routing, that could have brought that entire cost down potentially. We just couldn't get to the point of, it was, hey, if we could do that, that's great, but we don't know if that was ever, we couldn't get to that decision that was a viable route.
And I think there was one other thing in looking at through the correspondence, is that as we got into the August, September, October timeframe, there wasn't a clear answer about the right of way, right? There's what my review shows is there are emails to more engineering saying, where are we on this? Where are we on this? Without a lot of response. And at the same time, KSI has its construction, can't get a certificate of occupancy for its building because it doesn't have a plan for water and sewer, right? So at some point, decisions made that, you know, we're already, the initial investment for both the city and KSI is about $500,000, but now we're already looking at $1 million investment for us and potentially $1 million investment for the city. We don't have a solution and we can't move forward with our construction. Again, I'm not here to cast blame on anybody. I'm just here to say, how did we get to this situation? It wasn't what people intended on the front end, but here we are now on the back end. All right, well, thank you. Any other questions?
I'd make a motion we table. I don't know if it'd be in 2 weeks or maybe I'll just say table for future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second. All right, with a motion and a second to table for a future date, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, when we vote.
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you guys for your time, I appreciate it. We'll move on to the library board members.
So we have, two board members that are, that their terms are expiring in June, and then we have one library board member that has resigned. So I'm asking permission to advertise for letters of interest for library board.
I'll make a motion to advertise.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to advertise for library board vacancies, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, when we vote.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so next, let's give you a title on that.
We have two applications, for title fund. From, Community Development Storefront grant for a sign from aesthetics and medical spa skin, and for the all school reunion, actually, excuse me, there's three. And the Tioga Country Club.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to approve, title fund application that's seen. No questions, comments, concerns from the board, when we vote.
Yes.
Yes.
So moved. Next is going to be visitor promotion application.
We have, two visitor promotion applications, one from the Tioga Golf Country Club, for a new sign. And one from, the all school reunion.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to accept the visitor promotion application seen. No questions, comments, concerns from the board, when we vote.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so moved. Next is going to be an estimate for snow for sure.
Our street superintendent, Kurt Odegaard, provided an estimate for a new snow pusher. In the amount of $20,000, it's $4,000 less than our last one. But, because we purchased one previously, they're giving us a $4,000 discount.
Is there a motion? Either way.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to accept the bid as proposed. No questions, comments, concerns from the board, when we vote.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so moves next to an estimate for, maintenance.
There's an estimate for a fix on our water tower. It has a leak on one of the valves. And in order to fix it, KLM has, we received a few quotes, but KLM has, the cheapest quote, and they've done the work on our tower prior, in the amounts of $9,775,000.
I'd move we accept that. If it's that valve was leaked before and they got it to quit, now it's starting.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to accept the bid as provided. No questions, comments, concerns from the board.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so moves next is going to be Mr. Anderson.
Bob Anderson. First of all, I'm gonna try to be really respectful, okay? So I just seen KSI come in here right now and talking about, you know, the thing didn't fall through for them, you know, with the sewer and stuff. They put their own sewer in. Why would we want to take KSI away from the Tioga Township? Because I don't know if you guys all know it, Tioga Township has 44 miles of road to fix, so everything we take from Tioga Township hurts our neighbor, Tioga Township. So that's what I got to say about that. So I hope you really think about leaving KSI the way it was. Because the city didn't have to spend any money. And they've already installed their own sewer. So they don't really need the city being that outstanding divorce. But they wanted to. But things didn't work out. So I do have to mention about the gas station though. Why are we spending $373,000 of taxpayer money for a gas station for the city vehicles? How are we gonna meter the usage, gas cards for the vehicles, assign vehicles to employees? Where are we gonna buy the gas from? Is it gonna be out of Williston, Pinnacle? Did anybody think about going to the gas stations in Tioga before approving a gas station? You would have found out that Pinnacle had bought a brand new generator big enough to run the whole gas station inside and out. There wasn't any discussion about it. It was just voted on, yes, to spend the money. I truly believe that the commissioners should make a motion to rescind their votes to install the gas pumps. So that's what I have on that. I feel strongly on it, and I don't know what you guys think about it, but when you put your own pumps in, you're taking away from KSI, I mean from come and go too, right?
Local gas station, right?
We don't.
We don't use come and go unfortunately, but I understand what you're saying.
But anyway, Pinnacle, but I don't know, when you're buying gas, would you buy it locally?
We
You
do
buy
buy
it?
it locally, it would be from Pinnacle.
Right.
Pinnacle would give us a bulk discount. So if we put the gas station, in the future, because we're buying local, it would be a wash, so it would be at no cost.
You mean it'd be a wash,
It
but
would be a wash.
373,000 would be saved. So who can keep track of the usage and all that?
There's a key card that is utilized, and each vehicle will have its own dedicated card. And so when you insert it into the thing, we know exactly who's doing it, how much fuel they're utilizing, and what time and date that they're back. And there will also be cameras there to ensure that nobody's trying to steal from us.
I'm just saying that I think it's kind of senseless because Pinnacle I bet you if you went to Pinnacle and worked out a deal with their city vehicles, and come and go, they'd probably give you a discount without putting the station in. You know what I'm saying? Has anybody tried that?
We get a discount, right? But we would
That's
be
what I'm
buying.
saying.
The
Okay.
different price to purchase.
So, well, anyway, I just wish you'd reconsider that and probably make a motion to rescind that. You know, and forget about that. Use the taxpayer money more wisely than gas. Okay, so I got another thing that's on my mind, and that's about the Hess annexation. First of all, why would the city of Tioga go after the Hess gas plant? I thought the city of Tioga was pro-business. Most of you commissioners don't realize that the hospital and the Hess have supplied jobs to the community for over 70 years. Contractors, Hess employees, whoever, most of them were hired somewhere around, yes, a few other little companies, most of them were around, like there is now. Hess has bought so much stuff, that pretty much everything out at that golf course is Hess, the clubhouse, the whole works. A lot of you guys don't know that. Larry probably does. And that's probably all. But Hess has donated so much stuff, so many vehicles to the Pops. You know, everything haven't they, Larry? A lot of vehicles. So what I'm wondering about is, you know, they've supplied these jobs for over 70 years. And between the two main jobs in Tioga, they kept Tioga alive. So how are we gonna get more businesses to move to Tioga when the city is going after the one company that kept Tioga alive for over 70 years? Do you realize what you're gonna do to the Tioga Township that has 44 miles of roads to keep up? It's the largest in the state of North Dakota. Is the city of Tioga being a good neighbor? Is the city of Tioga being a good neighbor to the Tioga Township? Absolutely not. Is the city of Tioga pro-business? Would you want to tax, when you want to tax the gas plant about $3.5 million a year more in taxes? Do you all realize that Hess can move their product 1.5 miles east into Montreal County and the city won't get anything? P.S. Why stop there? Why not go after Tesoro? They're right next door to the gas plant. Oh, man, I just, if we're gonna be pro-business, we gotta really start looking at, you know, thank God we've got these companies that kept us alive for all these years. We can't go after them. We gotta stop this nonsense. And, you know, I was working for Hess when they were gonna build that office complex. And the city of Tioga said, we're gonna annex you in. Hess said, we're not gonna build it there then. And they all backed off. They promised them they never would. Well, years go by. Get new board, get new people at Hess. What, all of a sudden, you're annexed in. Now you're gonna go after the plant. It's not fair, absolutely to Hess, but it's definitely not fair to the Tioga Township. That's our neighbors. I mean, 44 miles of road, and if they lose KSI and they lose the gas plant, that's serious money, guys, for them. And I don't know how they'll recover. I just say, we need to be more pro-business and be a good neighbor. That's all I ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next is going to be Ricky, regarding stop sign. And the fuel station.
My name is Rick Ron, and I'm here about the stop signs because I'm probably more confused today than I was last time I came to the meeting. Talking about the 25 new stop signs that were put up. Because I've seen one of the guys that I believe said that it was last administration. Tim Sunhagen, his name was brought up. And I seen him down at Pinnacle, or down at Come and Go. And I asked him, and he said he agreed to one stop sign. Not 24, not 25, he agreed to one. So I don't know if I heard wrong or what, but when I left here, I believed that he agreed to the 25.
No, that's not an accurate statement, so.
Well,
you're correct.
okay, and that could be,
Right.
I hear wrong. But there was other people that called him and he said he has already been told about it. And, but, my question is, if it wasn't him, and he said he agreed to one,
Right, and did he tell you which one he agreed to out of curiosity? Because I wasn't,
he agreed to one because of didn't say what one, but the fireman and the ambulance crew talked to him about it.
right.
So he begrudgingly agreed to one.
And I believe that that was the statement that was made during that meeting was he approved the ones down here by the fire hall, which
Right.
would make perfect sense in what you're indicating now.
But then I was told that it was, the other ones were put up by they were required to be up.
Right, they were not put up by him, so.
Right.
And he never had any part in that.
I
You
get that.
understand
Yeah,
that now,
I
you get that
get
now, okay, and I think everybody on Facebook gets that as well.
that. I believe so too, yes, because I read that too.
Okay,
But
but other councils or other commissions have approved other stop signs in town. And then this commission approved other stop signs. So
Okay.
it's a combination of a whole bunch of people, not just one individual.
that wasn't said that day. And then, I didn't hear that day.
Okay,
And then I was told that you were gonna drive around and see if there was a few that could be taken down. And that was said.
right. And I also worked 80 hours last week. And so I didn't have time to go do that. So I do
But
apologize.
I don't believe that I don't believe that there's any chance that any of them are gonna come down. That's how I feel today.
Okay. Well, I
And
apologize.
that's my feeling. Last week, and I won't say what day or what time it was, but I was going to the grocery store from my house. And I watched an officer. I was following him down towards, Cash Wise. And I watched him roll through two of the stop signs in town,
And that was last week?
yes.
Okay.
And I understand, I'm trying to be the most law-abiding citizen, I know I'm gonna get stopped. I get that, that's gonna be part of it, by coming up here. But I totally disagree with the stop signs. I know you guys totally disagree with people signing petitions. I get that. Ed, Bruce be told, it's about building onto the community center. I'm gonna go around and see how many signatures I can get.
You're more than welcome to, sir.
And I know what will happen to it. His board won't probably even look at it. But I will get to go past that up. I'll pass that around and see how many people sign it. Because I disagree with them and I disagree with their response that I got.
Which was what? That we would look into it?
That other administrations were,
So you don't believe other administrations were involved in any of that?
I believe that Tim Flanagan was involved in one, but that was never mentioned that night.
It wasn't, and everything's recorded. So I
will
will,
have to look at.
I will help you with that, sir. Yes, we will work on that together because it was mentioned in that meeting.
Okay, I didn't hear it and other people didn't hear it neither because they talked to Tim too.
Okay, fair enough, but it was mentioned in that meeting because I specifically remember that portion of it, but I appreciate your.
And on the putting in the gas station for how many ever 1,000. It was brought up that day that it was going to be installed because at one time the cops could not get gas because of power outages.
Right, because we have power outages around here when
Yeah,
power goes out. we don't have
absolutely.
Fuel and.
But
unfortunately,
this board had to have known
Sorry,
that the board, all the whole board had to have known that Pinnacle had a full operating generator that will generate the whole store. That is not gonna be a problem probably ever again.
so I can tell you, I personally had no clue until Mr. Anderson said something. And I work with the people at Pinnacle's main office in Stanley on a daily basis, and they never even mentioned anything to me either about having a new, generator to provide full power to the,
I got pictures of it too, if you want.
I'm sorry?
I got pictures of it if you want to look at it after.
I
I mean,
appreciate it.
that-
though. I believe you, Mr. Anderson. I have no reason not to.
It took me about 2 minutes to see that.
Okay.
To ask one of them if they were ever gonna put one up, and they said they can run the whole Pinnacle station.
That's great to know. It really is.
So I don't understand why we would spend $307,000 on that. That doesn't make sense to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 12, Mr. Mo.
Evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so last time I come up here, I was talking about the airport road, and I think we're pretty understanding of each other that that road probably needs to be paved. I have exhausted every shape and form to talk to. I've talked to David Rust about how they funding for this deal. I talked to a township member, the Tioga Township, and you guys can about imagine, you know, they don't have the money to pave that road. City uses that road up to what would be 103rd. I don't even think it's an actual street to the Lagoon Road. It goes north and south. If a guy could put a number to it, it's probably a 70-30 split at the time, but in the future, the airport will get more traffic on that road, you know, for further endeavors. Spot. Okay, so there's 1 mile of gravel on Highway 42, which would be 103rd. The last 3/10 of a mile from where the airport land starts, going to the east. I've been told that the North Dakota Aeronautics Commission and, you know, the airport, we can get funding for that little portion. It's partially paved up there, like half. But I can handle that last 3/10. We can get funding for that. I cannot get any funding for the road coming in because it is not close to airport property. It's township and utilized by the road or the city. The biggest proponent that I want to get that road paved is for this ambulances. I have not got back from KLJ, our engineering firm, about how many airports locally will be shut down for construction this year. Last year there was 2. We had a lot more air ambulance traffic around here in Tioga. And I think, like what you said, Larry, last time I talked to you guys, if that road can help save 1 person, I think it's well worth, you know, spending the money on. The other thing is, this is the only airport in North Dakota with a 1 mile or more of gravel coming off a main highway getting to the airport. Stanley has a 10th of a mile. We have a full mile. It's rough in an ambulance going down there. The other thing is mud, rocks, and other debris coming from airport ambulances coming out of the runway and the ramps. If anybody's ever seen some of those chunks on the back of ambulances, that stuff can get sucked up into the jets or the propellers. It's a safety hazard. On the airport, we have mitigated some of those issues. We put down some millings on the road to stop getting too muddy. But from what we've talked to, I have not got a hard estimate on what that road would cost to do because most of it is pretty easy. I am gonna talk to a contractor later this year, but from what KLJ's kind of thrown at us for figuratively, you know, rough numbers, is anywhere between 3 and 4 million. To pave that entire mile. So the pavement alone was $1 million. That's what they said. So what I'm asking for is if the city can help pay for that, put away money until we have an overlay project or a full taxiway, which we're having in 28 or 30. If we could put money away for that, I'm hoping that we can get a better deal since the airport's paying for all that pavement on site, then we'll have the pavers right there, and it's, you know, we don't have to pay mobilizing costs to drive out, right? What's that?
They have to drive out,
Right,
so they can just do it on their way out.
right, exactly. So that's what I'm hoping. I don't expect an answer from you guys, but if you guys can put it, you know, you guys would consider it and try to get it on the books or see what numbers you guys can pull.
So you said in 2028 or 30?
2028 is our overlay, or, yeah, 2028 is our full parallel taxiway, 2030 is our overlay for our main runway. So we'll have pavement projects those 2 years. So we've got some time, but it would be nice to be able to allocate money, starting a pool now to get that road paved. It's a long time coming, but as you guys know, costs don't usually go down. So if we can start now, putting some stuff together for this Tioga Airport, that's what it was, yes. This year, that's what I'm saying, yes. So 2028, and like I say, we've got time to build this kitty. But I would really, I think the road needs to be done. Bad, so.
I won't disagree with you on that. I told you the same thing the last time we had this conversation. And same with Larry. One person.
Right.
That's.
Absolutely, and like I say, it's getting used more and more often, and we're getting, like I said, not trying to get into our updates this year, but we've got sixplex going up this year, and Tioga Airport is going to be growing in the next 10 years. I promise, and I'm going to push hard, and that's why I will be here often.
Good.
So I'm just wondering if, you know, when I could get an answer from you guys. What do you think, Mr. Wright?
We'll look into it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Right, I know what you mean. We have plenty of time, but at the same time, we need to start preparing.
Correct.
And so, I think we need to have another conversation with our rest of the commission here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so we can have complete buy-in, because I can tell you, if you don't think I support it, we're all idiots in this room. I think it needs to be done. Like I said the other day, it needed to be done 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So, so yeah, I think when our board comes back.
No, that's 100%. Like I said, I'll be more than happy to come back and answer any more questions. Our meeting is on Thursday, so if anybody would like to come out and talk and visit, and I'll be serving burgers at 5:30. So, yeah.
So everybody for that dinner at the airport.
That's great, 5:30 Thursday, meeting's at 7. So any other questions?
Jeff, have you, looked into federal grants?
Yes, the FAA will not pay for anything off the airport. The state will help pay for the road, but as long as it's on, if it's off airport property, the FAA will not give any funds. So.
Are you leaving before the adjournment of the meeting?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I'll stick around.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so next is gonna be the consent agenda. On the consent agenda is the local charity permit application, payroll for April 7th, 2024, financials for March 2024, payroll for September 22 of 2023.
I'll make a motion to pay.
Motion to what? To approve
Yeah,
consent agenda?
yeah.
Second. All right, with a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, will we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so moved. That looks like the last thing. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Can I just say one more thing?
Please.
I think it was, Jessica that made that motion for that gas, for the gas station. So she would be the one that would have to rescind her motion, right?
I believe that's how that goes.
So are we gonna bring that up next meeting to see if she will rescind that motion?
Well, Mr. Anderson, at the beginning of each meeting, I'll help answer that, I think, because that's maybe a procedural question. As we do at every meeting, at the beginning of each regular meeting, the commission reviews the minutes of the last commission meeting. So I promise, our missing commissioner will be informed of your request. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, so the main thing, if we have it, then would that be addressed on the next meeting then, if she says yes or no?
If she or any other commissioner believes it's appropriate to re-raise that, they will. What I can promise you is she will certainly be aware of it, and all the commission members will be reminded of your inquiry because we review the meeting minutes of every prior meeting at every single regular meeting.
Okay, that's all I asked, is that, yeah, so, okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Lippman. Just in regards to the fuel station, Abby said that it offsets the cost. Does that offset the difference in the bulk? Buying in bulk versus just buying
Yes,
from
so,
Pinnacle
yes,
at the
that's
discount
right.
that you get
It
now?
wouldn't be like this first year, it would be like years, so.
No, that's what I was gonna ask you, when you say it offsets, like how many years does it take to offset?
I don't wanna do it without having the numbers on hand, just because the price of both gas goes up and down. But, Pinnacle did say that they would give it to us at a higher discount than what we get now.
How much is your discount now?
I don't know, because it just depends. Depends on the price of gas.
Okay.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You guys do not want to leave? Cool, we can stay with that. I don't care. All right, with a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, no questions, comments, check on the board, we'll move to vote.
Yeah.
All right, so moves, meetings adjourned at 8:22. Thank you for your attendance.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.